Imagine stepping on the scale every single morning and watching the number drop, not by a few hesitant ounces, but by pounds of pure, stubborn fat day after day after day. What if I told you that the most powerful tool for accelerating your fat loss during a fast isn't a pill, a powder, or some exotic berry from a remote jungle, but a fundamental biological process you can activate with absolute precision starting right now? This isn't about starving yourself. It's about strategically engineering your body's internal environment to become a fat burning furnace 24 hours a day. We are going to dive deep into the one accelerator that can amplify your fasting results by 4, 8, or even 12 times, transforming your body composition in a way you might have thought was reserved for genetic elites or Hollywood actors with teams of personal chefs and trainers. The secret doesn't cost a single dollar, but it requires a complete rewiring of your understanding of what fasting truly is. For decades, we've been told that fasting is simply about not eating for a certain number of hours, that the magic is in the calorie restriction alone. But that is a painfully incomplete picture, a surface level observation that misses the profound hormonal symphony orchestrating your metabolism. The real key, the ultimate fasting accelerator, is the meticulous management of your insulin hormone. Insulin is the gatekeeper of your fat stores. When it's present in your bloodstream, burning body fat for fuel is virtually impossible. Your body sees insulin as a signal that new energy has arrived, so it happily shuts down access to your fat reserves and uses the incoming glucose. The goal of a true fat loss fast, therefore, is not just to abstain from calories, but to create and sustain a state of rock bottom insulin levels for a prolonged period. This is the non-negotiable foundation. Every single thing you consume, even if it's deemed 0 calorie, can impact this insulin response. This is where most people fail. They believe they are fasting, but they are unknowingly sabotaging their efforts with substances that trigger an insulin release, slamming the brakes on fat oxidation, and pulling them out of the precious fat burning zone. So, the first and most critical rule of this accelerated protocol is a strict water-only fast. Not coffee with a splash of cream, not diet soda, not sugar-free gum, not bone broth, pure, unadulterated water, and plenty of it. The moment any foreign substance, particularly anything sweet-tasting, hits your system, you risk an insulin spike, even if the product has no calories. Your body's cephalic phase insulin response is a clever, ancient mechanism that prepares your digestive system for incoming nutrients based on taste and smell. By keeping your fast pristine, you ensure that insulin remains flatlined, which is the green light for your body to dive deep into its adipose tissue for fuel. But simply keeping insulin low is just step one. That's the baseline. To get that 4x to 12x amplification, we need to go further. We need to actively push the body to not only use fat for energy, but to ramp up the rate at which it does so. This is where our primary accelerator comes into play. A practice so potent, it can single-handedly redefine your fasting results. It's the strategic and deliberate use of low to moderate intensity movement, specifically in a fasted state. I'm not talking about grueling, high-intensity workouts that leave you drained and spike your cortisol. I'm referring to the power of consistent, rhythmic, fasted walking. When you engage in activities like walking while in a deep fasted state with low insulin, you are sending an unambiguous signal to your body. You are essentially demonstrating a high energy demand in an environment where no external food is available. This forces your system to become exquisitely efficient at mobilizing and oxidizing your stored body fat. The synergy is incredible. Low insulin unlocks the fat cells, and the muscular activity provides the demand that pulls that fat out to be burned. Every step you take in this state is like adding a log to the metabolic fire, telling your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, to expand their capacity and burn fat more efficiently. This isn't just theoretical. The data from numerous studies on fasted cardio shows a marked increase in fat utilization compared to fed state exercise. The combination of a pure water fast and fasted walking creates a metabolic scenario where fat loss isn't just happening, it's being aggressively prioritized. Think of it this way: a sedentary fast might have your body idling, slowly burning fat because it has to. But adding in this movement is like pressing the accelerator pedal to the floor, forcing a much higher rate of fuel consumption from your fat reserves. The duration and consistency of this movement are what scale the effect. A 30-minute walk is good, but a 60 to 90-minute walk is where you begin to see the exponential gains. This sustained low-level demand teaches your body to become a fat-adapted machine. And it's this adaptation that leads to the dramatic multiplied fat loss results we're targeting. This is the core of the first principle, a pristine fast combined with strategic fasted movement. But this is only the beginning of the journey. To truly unlock the highest tiers of fat loss, we must delve into the next layer of metabolic optimization. Now that we've established the non-negotiable foundation of a pristine, water-only fast amplified by strategic fasted walking, it's time to introduce the element that can take you from good, steady fat loss to absolutely extraordinary, jaw-dropping results. This next accelerator operates on a cellular level, directly influencing the very machinery responsible for energy production and, crucially, how that machinery selects its fuel source. I'm talking about the powerful, yet often misunderstood world of caffeine. When used with precision during your fast, caffeine becomes more than just a wake-up call. It transforms into a potent metabolic catalyst that can significantly amplify the fat-burning signals we've already set in motion. But there's a right way and a very wrong way to use it. Most people consume caffeine haphazardly, often with cream and sugar, completely negating its fasting benefits. The correct protocol involves consuming a single specific dose of pure black coffee or unsweetened green tea at a very strategic point in your fasted state, ideally about 30 minutes before you begin your fasted walking session. The mechanism of action is twofold and is backed by a substantial body of research. First, caffeine is a well-known stimulant of the central nervous system, which increases your alertness and perceived energy levels, allowing you to engage in your fasted walk with more vigor and potentially for a longer duration. This extended activity period alone contributes to greater total fat oxidation. However, the second and more profound effect is caffeine's role as a potent mobilizer of stored fatty acids. Caffeine intake has been shown to increase the levels of epinephrine and norepinephrine in your bloodstream. These catecholamines are your body's primary fight or flight hormones, and they travel directly to your fat cells, binding to receptors and triggering a process called lipolysis. Lipolysis is the biochemical process of breaking down triglycerides, the stored form of fat, into free fatty acids, and glycerol, releasing them into your bloodstream to be used as fuel. By consuming caffeine before your walk, you are essentially priming your system, sending a hormonal signal to your fat stores to release a flood of fatty acids into circulation. Then, when you begin your walk, your muscles have an abundant, readily available supply of fat to burn. This powerful 1 to 2 punch hormonal fat mobilization, followed by increased muscular demand, creates a synergistic effect that dramatically increases the rate of fat loss. It's like turning on all the taps in your house before you start using the water, ensuring maximum flow. The data suggests that caffeine can increase the rate of fat oxidation during exercise by a significant margin, sometimes as high as 10-30%, depending on the individual and the dose. This is a massive multiplier on top of the benefits you're already getting from the fasted state itself. But the dosage and timing are absolutely critical. A large dose is not necessarily better. In fact, too much caffeine can lead to jitters, anxiety, and a spike in cortisol, which can be counterproductive. The sweet spot for most people is between 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is roughly the amount in one strong cup of black coffee. It's also crucial to maintain your caffeine tolerance. Using it daily can diminish its fat burning effects. For maximum impact, consider reserving your caffeine intake for your most important fasting days or your longest walking sessions. Furthermore, the purity of your caffeine source is paramount. This means black coffee, no sugar, no milk, no cream, no artificial sweeteners. Any additive, as we discussed, can potentially trigger an insulin response and break your fasted state, shutting down the very fat burning process you're trying to accelerate. Green tea is an excellent alternative as it also contains EGCG, a catechin that may further support fat oxidation through a separate mechanism. The combination of caffeine and EGCG can be particularly effective. However, the principle remains the same. Consume it pure and consume it strategically. This practice, when layered on top of your pure fast and your fasted walking, represents the second major gear in our acceleration protocol. You've now created a powerful internal environment. Insulin is suppressed. Fatty acids are being actively mobilized by catecholamines, and your muscles are engaged in a sustained activity that consumes those fatty acids. This is a far cry from simply not eating and hoping for the best. This is an active, dynamic process of metabolic engineering, but we are not done yet. To push the boundaries even further and tap into the highest echelons of daily fat loss, we must address a fundamental aspect of human physiology that is often the missing link for people who feel they've hit a plateau: the management of your stress and recovery hormones, with a particular focus on the master regulator of your metabolism, cortisol. You have your pristine fast in place, you're performing your fasted walks, and you're strategically using caffeine to mobilize fat. The results should be phenomenal, and for many, they will be. But for some, there remains an invisible barrier, a physiological handbrake that prevents them from reaching that promised 4x to 12x fat loss, no matter how perfectly they follow the first two steps. That handbrake is often chronic stress and its primary hormonal agent, cortisol. Understanding and mastering your cortisol levels is, without exaggeration, the single most overlooked factor in achieving extreme fasting acceleration. Cortisol is a glucocorticoid, a steroid hormone produced by your adrenal glands. In acute short-term situations, cortisol is your friend. It helps mobilize energy, enhances focus, and is essential for survival. However, in our modern, chronically stressed lives, cortisol levels can remain persistently elevated, and this is where it becomes a major antagonist to your fat loss goals. High chronic cortisol directly opposes the fat-burning environment we are trying so hard to create. One of cortisol's primary functions is to increase blood sugar. It does this by promoting gluconeogenesis, which is the creation of new glucose in the liver, often from the breakdown of lean muscle tissue. This elevation in blood sugar then prompts the release of, you guessed it, insulin. So even if you are consuming 0 calories, high stress can cause your body to elevate its own blood sugar and insulin, effectively blocking access to your fat stores. It's a cruel metabolic paradox. You're doing everything right with your diet, but your own stress response is sabotaging you from the inside. Furthermore, chronic high cortisol can lead to insulin resistance, meaning your cells become less responsive to insulin signals, requiring your pancreas to produce even more of it to manage blood sugar, creating a vicious cycle that firmly locks your body into sugar burning mode and away from fat burning mode. This is why two people can follow the exact same fasting protocol and get wildly different results. Their underlying stress physiology is different. Therefore, the third and arguably most crucial accelerator for unlocking elite level fat loss is active stress management and sleep optimization. This isn't a soft optional wellness tip. It is a non-negotiable hardcore metabolic requirement. The most powerful tool for managing cortisol is deep, consistent, and high-quality sleep. When you are in a deep sleep, your body undergoes critical repair processes. And your cortisol rhythm naturally dips to its lowest point, allowing for growth hormone, a potent fat burning hormone, to peak. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is not lazy. It is a strategic intervention that directly lowers your fasting insulin and creates a more favorable hormonal landscape for fat oxidation. Beyond sleep, incorporating daily practices to actively downregulate your nervous system is essential. This could be a simple 10-minute mindfulness meditation, focused deep breathing exercises like the 4-7-8 technique, or gentle activities like yoga or spending time in nature. The goal is to consciously shift your body from the sympathetic fight or flight state to the parasympathetic rest and digest state. When you are in a parasympathetic state, your cortisol drops and your body feels safe enough to release and burn stored fat. Think of it this way: your body is an intelligent system. If it perceives high stress, whether from work, relationships, or overtraining, it will be hesitant to let go of its precious energy reserves, body fat, because from a primal perspective, a famine might be around the corner. By actively managing stress, you are signaling to your body that the environment is safe, resources are abundant, and it is now okay to liberally use those stored fat reserves. This psychological component has direct, measurable physiological consequences. Layering this stress management on top of our existing protocol creates a trifecta of acceleration: pure, fast, and walking for the mechanical demand, caffeine for the hormonal priming, and stress reduction for removing the metabolic brakes. This holistic approach ensures that every system in your body is aligned and working in concert towards the single goal of maximizing fat loss. But to solidify these gains and ensure the results are not only dramatic but also sustainable, we must look at the other side of the fasting window, the refeeding period. How you break your fast is just as important as the fast itself. We've built an incredible fat-burning machine through a pure fast, fasted walking, strategic caffeine use, and meticulous stress management. The scale is moving, your clothes are fitting better, and you're feeling the metabolic high that comes with deep ketosis and efficient energy utilization. But this is the precise moment where many people make a catastrophic error that can undo hours, if not days, of progress. They break their fast with the wrong foods. The refeeding strategy is not an afterthought. It is the fourth critical accelerator in this entire protocol, and it governs not only how much fat you keep off, but also how effectively you can slide back into your next accelerated fast. The goal of breaking your fast is to replenish glycogen stores, provide essential nutrients for repair, and signal a state of abundance to your metabolism without triggering a massive insulin spike that will shuttle all the newly available energy into fat storage and reignite intense cravings. The worst thing you can do is break a long, powerful fat-burning fast with a large meal high in refined carbohydrates and sugars. Doing so is like throwing a bucket of cold water on the metabolic fire you've worked so hard to build. Your insulin will skyrocket, your body will immediately switch back to burning sugar, and the flood of glucose can lead to reactive hypoglycemia, leaving you feeling tired, irritable, and ravenously hungry soon after. To prevent this, and to continue the fat loss momentum, even after you've eaten, you must break your fast with a meal that is strategically designed to minimize the insulin response. This means your first meal should be predominantly comprised of protein, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables, while being very low carbohydrates, especially refined carbs. A large salad with grilled chicken or salmon and a olive oil-based dressing is a perfect example. A plate of eggs with avocado and spinach is another excellent choice. The protein and fat will promote satiety, providing a gentle signal to your system that food has arrived without causing a violent shock. The fiber from the vegetables will slow down digestion and further moderate any potential blood sugar rise. This controlled refeed allows your body to transition smoothly from a fat-burning state without the whiplash of a sugar rush and crash. It helps stabilize your energy levels, keeps cravings at bay, and, most importantly, keeps your insulin relatively low allowing your body to continue dipping into fat stores for energy even in the hours following your meal. This is the secret to making fat loss cumulative and sustainable. But the benefits of a proper refeed go beyond just managing insulin. When you break your fast with a protein rich meal, you are providing the essential amino acids necessary for muscle protein synthesis. This is vital. One of the common concerns with fasting is the potential loss of lean muscle mass. By engaging in your fasted walks, you are sending a signal to your body to preserve muscle. And by breaking your fast with adequate protein, you are providing the building blocks to repair and maintain that precious metabolically active tissue. The more muscle mass you preserve, the higher your resting metabolic rate, meaning you burn more calories even at rest. This creates a powerful positive feedback loop for long-term fat loss. Furthermore, this style of refeeding has a profound impact on your gut health. After a period of fasting, your gut microbiome has had a chance to rest and reset. Introducing a large load of sugar and processed foods can feed potentially harmful bacteria and yeast, leading to bloating, inflammation, and digestive distress. Instead, by breaking your fast with whole, nutrient-dense, fibrous foods, you are selectively nourishing the beneficial gut bacteria that support overall health, reduce inflammation, and even improve metabolic function. This careful approach to refeeding ensures that the hard work you put in during your fast is fully capitalized upon. It locks in the fat loss, preserves your metabolic rate, supports muscle mass, and cultivates a healthy gut environment. It sets you up for success in your next fasting window, making it easier to get back into a deep state of fat burning. Because you haven't sent your hormones on a roller coaster ride, you are effectively teaching your body to be metabolically flexible, to switch seamlessly between burning dietary fat, stored fat, and carbohydrates, which is the hallmark of a truly resilient and healthy metabolism. Now, with the fasting period, the movement, the catalyst, and the refeeding strategy all perfectly aligned, there is one final master level accelerator we can employ to push the limits of what's possible. We have constructed a comprehensive and incredibly powerful system for accelerated fat loss. The Pristine fast, the fasted walking, the strategic caffeine, the stress management, and the intelligent refeeding. This system, executed with consistency, will produce transformative results for the vast majority of people. But for those who are looking to push the boundaries even further, to tap into the very highest end of that 4x to 12x fat loss potential, there is one final master level lever we can pull. This involves manipulating the duration and timing of your fasting windows to align with your body's deepest circadian rhythms. A practice known as circadian rhythm fasting or early time restricted feeding. While any fasting window is beneficial, the data is increasingly clear that when you eat may be just as important as what you eat. The concept is simple yet profound. Align your eating window with the daylight hours, and more specifically, front load your calories to the earlier part of the day. The most potent form of this is to have your entire eating window, for example, an 8-hour window like from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and to make your largest meal your first meal of the day, tapering down your food intake as the day progresses, and finishing your last meal several hours before bedtime. This practice is a powerful accelerator for several deeply biological reasons. First, it aligns with your natural insulin sensitivity. Your body is most sensitive to insulin in the morning and becomes progressively more insulin resistant as the day goes on. This means that for the same meal, your body will secrete less insulin if you eat it in the morning compared to the evening. Since we know insulin is the primary blocker of fat burning, consuming your calories when your body is most sensitive to them minimizes the insulin required for nutrient storage, thereby shortening the period of time when fat burning is suppressed. Eating a large meal late at night, when your insulin sensitivity is at its lowest, forces your body to produce a larger amount of insulin to manage the blood sugar load, which can keep you out of fat burning mode for a significant portion of the night. Second, Circadian rhythm fasting enhances metabolic flexibility and improves the health of your mitochondria. Your cells have their own internal clocks, and these clocks expect food during the day and a fast at night. When you eat late, you send conflicting signals to these cellular clocks, disrupting their natural rhythm and leading to metabolic inefficiency. By consolidating your eating to a daytime window, you reinforce these natural rhythms, allowing your metabolism to function at its peak efficiency. Studies have shown that early time restricted feeding can lead to improvements in blood sugar control, blood pressure, oxidative stress, and appetite levels, even without counting a single calorie. Third, and perhaps most importantly for fat loss, finishing your last meal early in the evening creates a long, uninterrupted fast that extends through the night and into the next morning. This prolonged fast, perfectly synchronized with your sleep cycle, allows your body to achieve a deep and sustained state of autophagy and fat oxidation. During sleep, your body is already in a reparative state. When combined with the fasted state, the fat burning and cellular cleanup processes are maximized. You wake up already in a deep fat burning zone, making your fasted walking session even more effective. When you layer this circadian timing onto our existing protocol, the multiplier effect becomes staggering. Imagine this perfect day. You finish your last meal at 6 p.m. You sleep deeply for 8 hours, managing your cortisol. You wake up at 6 a.m., already 12 hours into a fast. You drink a black coffee, mobilizing your fat stores. You go for a 90-minute fasted walk, burning that mobilized fat at an accelerated rate. You break your fast at 10 a.m. with a large protein-rich meal, perfectly timed with your peak insulin sensitivity. You have just created a 16-hour fat-burning window that was exponentially more productive than a simple, unoptimized fast. This is the pinnacle of fasting acceleration. It's the synthesis of every principle we've discussed, working in perfect harmony with your biology, not against it. This is not a short-term crash diet. This is a metabolic retraining program. It teaches your body to prefer fat as its primary fuel source. It improves your hormonal health. It increases your energy levels, and it fundamentally changes your relationship with food. You are no longer a slave to constant hunger and cravings because you have stabilized your blood sugar and insulin. You are in control. The results you can achieve with this complete system are what place it in a league of its own. This is how you achieve not just incremental weight loss, but a total body transformation. So there you have it. The complete 5-part blueprint to accelerating your fasting results beyond what you probably thought was possible. This isn't about magic pills. It's about leveraging fundamental human physiology. The power to transform your body is already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. I want you to start today. Don't get overwhelmed. Pick one of these 5 accelerators, whether it's committing to a pure water fast, adding a 30-minute fasted walk, managing your stress, or simply shifting your eating window earlier, and implement it with 100% consistency for the next week. Experience the difference for yourself. Then, next week, layer in another. I have put absolutely everything I have into this research to give you the most effective path forward. Now, the most important step is yours to take. If you found this information valuable, if you can see how this protocol can change your life, then do me a huge favor. Smash that like button. It truly helps the channel more than you know. Subscribe and turn on notifications because I am constantly updating these protocols with new data and insights, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment down below telling me which one of these 5 accelerators you are going to implement first. Your journey inspires me and inspires this entire community. Let's start a conversation down in the comments. Now go out there and own your day. I'll see you in the next video.